I want to know how to make my potential partner in the future less horny. And that's precisely why I'm coming to you, Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro, for the best takes. Okay. Now, some of you might also say, I want to know how to have an ad-free broadcasting experience, because at 13 minutes in, we're going to have a top of the hour ad break. The answer is simple. Subscribing. Getting a gift sub recipient, becoming a gift sub recipient if you're lucky, or if you're not lucky, by making your own luck and subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. These are the ways that you can avoid the top of the hour ad breaks. That is right. The Dragon of Chaos, a dildo in my wife's hand. Okay, Brianna Nicole gifting 5 people the opportunity to avoid the ass. Thank you. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. Let's continue. I got to pee real quick, too.
That's an evolved adaptation so that we can see what...
Wait, what?
Part of the reason our eyes are the way they are, they have whites.
Oh.
That's an evolved adaptation.
Thank you,
so
cute, for the
we
fact
can
that
see what other people's eyes are up to.
Interesting.
And everyone who didn't have visual whites, visible whites, either died or was killed or didn't mate. Right? And so I want to see where you're pointing your eyes, because you're devoting a tremendous amount of cortical energy to that value specification. And if I can see what you're pointing your eyes at, then I know what you value. Then I can mimic your body with my body, and we can fall into the same, what would you say, the same
rhythm.
game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the same rhythm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And you see that in music, right? Because the musicians are heading towards a note. They all know that. They know when they're going to jump up and down in unison and hit that note.
Right.
And then they can play along the way. The music has a point, or you don't even want to listen to it. And it's so satisfying when they hit that climax all together, right? It's like, we got the point, man.
It's true in relationships too, and I think that as we atomize ourselves in our relationships, I think the relationships break down. That you have to have that rhythm, and you also have to have the ability to.
That's why you dance with your partner.
Yeah, that refusal to acknowledge the differences that you have with your partner. And there's a beautiful thing in the beginning of Genesis. So the phrase that's used when it talks about Eve and Adam is before. So it's really fascinating. I mean, the whole thing is really beautifully symbolic. That Eve never receives a name until after they're kicked out of the Garden of Eden. She's called just the woman.
Bro, I'm literally horny already, dude. Nothing gets me going like Bible study. Nothing gets me going like Bible study. Nothing gets me geared up like learning about relationships, like hearing from the Bible, okay? The most true thing that anyone has ever read, okay? Jesus makes my pussy so wet. You have no idea. Okay? Actually, hypothetically, Adam and Eve or the archetype for the original relationship. That's why, hypothetically, my wife was made from my ribcage.
Until that point, and then he names her, right? He first names her and he says,
r/atheist Hasan? Fuck you mean, dude? If you're talking about interpersonal relationships and you go back to the fucking Bible, then yeah, I'm gonna make fun of that. That's not r/atheism.
Right, which is a derivative of ish, which is the same word, just add a hey at the end, because that's how he sees her. She's a derivative of him. She's just an object for him to use.
Oh my God! Wait, I was just joking. He's literally doing that. Oh my God! Oh my God! I was just joking. Oh my God! I literally made that up as a joke. I was like, no one is stupid enough to make that argument, right? And he literally just said that. What the fuck? That is absolutely insane. That is an insane fucking place to go.
And that's why she ends up talking to the snake, because if you're seen as an object by somebody, why would you want to talk with them? You're not an independent human being. And it's only
That's
after...
why you don't want to dance with someone who only has sexual gratification on their mind.
Exactly. And then she sins, they're kicked out, and then he renames her Eve, right? Adam calls her Eve.
Okay, so
because
hold
she's
on.
the mother of all
the first name is given by who? Adam?
Adam. So he's naming all the animals,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then it says that...
And that's giving them a reality, a semantic reality.
Right, and then God says none of these partners are... And Adam can't find a partner.
Right, they're not suitable.
And he says, so I'm going to give you a helpmate.
You need a woman, not a dog, not a pet dog.
Exactly. He says you need a helpmate, but the phrase that's used is ezer kenegdo. So it's translated helpmate.
Yeah.
What it actually means is a helper against you.
Oh.
That's what it actually means in Hebrew. Ezer kenegdo, right?
So there's an adversarial element in there.
Yeah, because what
You know,
what makes
That's right. That's why I always said women are the dragon of chaos. Women be shopping, am I right, Ben? These women, there's an adversarial nature to the relationship. That's why us boys, we must stick together, us men. Liberate liberate yourselves as men from the shackles of oppression. Stop hanging out with women. Stop it.
a better
this
person
idea
is the
called-
adversarial element.
There's this idea in neurophysiology called opponent processing. It's really cool. So if you want to move your hand really smoothly this way, you can do it like that. But it's nowhere near as smooth as if you do this. You can be absolutely precise. So you really tense this hand against this hand, and then this one relents a little bit. It's absolute precision. And so that adversarial process, you imagine that women and men are slightly different temperamentally, or even quite a bit different. Well, you're trying to hit the mark, but the mark moves. And so how do you hit it? Well, you hit it with this adversarial process. And you do that with kids, and when you're negotiating in the house too. It's like, well, you think this, and I think this.
And that's why when you fundamentally refuse to acknowledge the difference between the sexes, you lose the Ezer kenegdo.
I don't understand. So like LGBT relationships are out, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, just boys, sorry. I was just kidding. A relationship with another man, with a man. Well, there's no there's no adversarial nature there, and therefore it's not smooth.
Part of that, you lose that opposition that's necessary.
That's also, see, my wife has a more masculine temperament than me, and she's really low in politeness, which is an aspect of agreeableness. And it makes her quite formidable as a combatant. And sometimes in our life, she'll say things that are so out.
Wait, oh my God. I'm learning so much about the way Jordan Peterson is right now. There's just a multitude of self-reports being unlocked in the JP lore currently.
Outrageous that, well, it usually makes me laugh. It's like in an intense fight, she'll say like 3 of the worst insults you could possibly imagine, and it'll make me laugh. And it's hard sometimes to deal with her because of this more aggressive element. But it was also something that really attracted me towards her, because she's no pushover, and she's got this she's got a kind of a knife-like sense of humor that comes out quite often. And so I really like the combative element to it. And that's part of what keeps a relationship dynamically alive. So that's very cool. So that's the first name?
So he first calls her Isha, and says, because God's going to give her as Ezer kenegdo. And then, after the whole element with
and he
snake,
called, okay, so God.
Bro, I'm sorry, but if you watch this, you're never getting pussy, okay? If you're a dude and you're like, on God, I am so fucking horny, like I am down bad. I'm down abysmal. I'm down cataclysmically. I need to fucking learn about how to get bitches. Okay. If that's your attitude and you watch this video, you are literally never, and you deserve to never get laid. Okay. Straight up. Like, can you imagine being like, please, these two are my favorite thinkers. They're my favorite intellectuals, my favorite critical thinkers of all time. And they're going to give me the best relationship advice that I've ever heard. Okay. 34,000 people. No, we're not talking about us. We're joking about this. We're making jokes about this. I'm talking about people in all sincerity that clicked on this video, okay? The 1 million people since December 18th when this video first came out. The 44,000 people that actually liked this, okay? Like, it's not even entertaining. That's the worst part about it. It's not even fucking entertaining. Like, I'd rather watch some, like, QAnon psychos, you know, talk about shit.
Says he's gonna deliver this. What's the word?
Ezer kenegdo, right? So it's a helpmate.
Right, but it's an adversarial partner.
Yeah, the word kenegdo literally means against him, right?
Wow,
It's going to be
so
Ezer,
cool.
helper, against him, right?
Okay, and
Kenegdo.
then Adam
Adam
names
calls
her
her Isha, right? Because says she's flesh of my flesh, she's bone of my
People
bone.
who need relationship advice are losers? No, you probably need relationship advice. Everyone at some point needs relationship advice. It's just who you are going to for this. Like, here's some relationship advice. Practice empathy, okay? Respect your partner. Listen to the desires that they're communicating, okay? That's relationship advice. On the Nebuchadnezzar, there was Adam and then there was Eve. And Eve's original name actually means dragon of chaos. Like, this is fucking This sucks.
Bone, which is how a man sees a woman when the woman is just an object to him,
Right, right,
Because
right.
she's mine, right? It's my possessiveness of her that defines her as a human being, and the word woman, just like in English, is a derivative of the word man, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
ish, which is spelled aleph yud shin. It's the same spelling, you just add a hey at the end, and now it's isha, right? So she's going to be called woman because I'm called man, so she's, you know,
She's a secondary derivative.
she's a secondary
of me.
derivative of me.
Right, which is how a man would understand a woman. It's like she's like me except smaller.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And then once she starts to
What?
bear children, then he calls her Chava, right, Eve, the mother, which is the same root of life and Chava, right? Chai is the same root. So it's it
Is
means
that
the mother of all.
etymologically related to the word for chaos? Do you know? In Hebrew?
Hebrew?
Yeah.
Like at the
The formless chaos at the beginning of time. Is there a relationship between that and Eve?
Thank you, Hasan Game, for the 5 get the subs.
name?
don't think so. I'd have to check it. But
What are they
he's-
doing? They're fucking Bible nerds, dude. They're literally talking about. They're just nerds, dude. They're literally. It's like having a conversation with your fucking Magic the Gathering homies about how, like, you know, in order to get laid, I need to, you know, I need to unlock land cards, okay? Like 5 land cards or whatever the fuck you say in Magic the Gathering. I'm forgetting, but it's like turning it into what they do know, okay? And what they do know is just being a fucking nerd about the Bible and about the Torah.
He says she's the mother of all living, and then that's how she's defined. What gives her a meaning is the thing that actually does give women meaning.
I know I got a lot of
Magic the
Gathering
things,
fans.
Right,
I know.
is the ability to bear children, which is of course what we as a society have decided to deride and pretend is not a superpower and treat as a secondary aspect of femininity when it is in fact the primary aspect of femininity. And so it's really it's quite fascinating and it's really
That's why I like Beauty and the Beast. You know, because I taught a lot about hero mythology to my students, and the women would sometimes come up and say, well, what about the female
Does
heroes?
this motherfucker still teach? I don't think so, right?
I thought, well, that's complicated because you have the image of Mary, and that's pretty maternal, but in Christianity, Christ is also the redeemer of women, and that's an adventurous hero in some sense. It's like, so the female situation is complicated, right? Because there is this adventurous spirit, but it has to be combined with this maternal fecundity, let's say, and involuntarily. Well, what I really liked about Beauty and the Beast, and I do think that's the best Disney movie ever made, was that it's a real female hero myth. I mean, the woman, Beauty, is beautiful, so she's high up in the female dominance hierarchy, but she's witty and well-read and intelligent and adventurous.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast is a perfect female myth because it's a beautiful woman. Important, very important, okay? Because women have to be objects of desire first and foremost, and that needs to be their most important quality. And then secondly, the second most important quality of a woman is like how they can tame a man, right? With their feminine aspect. Totally normal stuff, by the way. I mean, straight up. Isn't that nice, dude?
And brave and courageous and truthful, all of that. And she doesn't fall for Gaston, the psychopathic persona. And young women are much more likely to fall for men like that, by the way, than women who are slightly more, what would you say?
Wait, is this real?
Yeah, wiser. So they'll fall for dark triad.
Did they make a fucking Jordan Peterson explains what it means to be a black woman in America? No shot is this real. Same energy, Black Republicans Committee? No shot. Is that a real fucking... Oh my God, we're going to watch that. We're 100% watching that.
Men, and that's partly how psychopathy propagates itself across the generations. Right? They can be enticed by psychopathic personas. But she prefers the beast. It's like, well, the beast is the adventure. It's like...
I like that. Okay, dude, I'm sorry, but Jordan Peterson is such a fucking lib, dude. He is literally such a fucking lib. This is exactly the same shit that rad libs do, okay? I want a story that's good and promotes good values and promotes the world in the way that I see it, which is good. And then the bad people get their comeuppance, and they can't be bad. They can't be complex individuals, and that's really fucked up, okay? He's just doing that for conservatism, okay? Him decrying about the archetypical stereotypes and the way that they're built in culture now is straight up and pointing to Beauty and the Beast as like the peak, the masterpiece, because it agrees with his like worldview, is straight up the exact same shit. Okay, it's just the other side of the same fucking coin, dude. Oh my lord.
well, is this terrible man, you know, like he's rough, he's unhewed, but he's got potential, right? And that's what really attracts her. And she wants someone who can guard the walls and make a safe haven for the children, but who's generous enough who's productive enough to be useful and generous enough to share. And so she civilizes him. And that's, you know, you say, well, that's the female hero myth. It's like the civilizing of men is the female hero myth. And the civilizing of nature, in some sense, is the male hero myth.
And to pretend that that's like a secondary pursuit, which is what the society says, that like what we should value is, in a certain way, feminism is a construct of the patriarchy, because
they're completely, and it's modern, guys, because the notion is, well, the men have got it all right, and all we'd have to do is for women to be more like men.
Right, exactly.
That's your aim. My wife is engaged in a series of discussions with this Jonathan Pajot I mentioned earlier. It's an inquiry into the symbolism of the divine feminine, because we have a real question in our culture. We have a more...
What? I think feminism paired up with capitalism, or white feminism in some respects, does kind of put out those vibes. Okay? But ultimately, it's not, you know, it's not feminism. He reads too much books. I don't understand. It's just like, Hasan agree with Jordan Peterson, confirmed. I mean, this notion that feminism is taking women's femininity away. Saying that feminism is a product of the patriarchy is true. That's dialectics, okay? He's not wrong. Saying that feminism is promoting male-like behavior, on the other hand, is not true. In some ways, you could look at it as, first of all, there's many different kinds of feminism. But unless you're talking about like white feminists or radfems that are pro-capitalist radfems, you're completely missing the mark. What is even male-like behavior? I mean, if you live in a world where, if you've engaged in the world building of Jordan Peterson, and the world is supposed to be dominated by men, okay, powerful men that also demonstrate good virtues and are good leaders overall, okay, and that is like the divine and natural way, the natural hierarchy, then yes, women also wanting to have some kind of ownership over that power is ultimately going to be women trying to be like men. Because he doesn't live in a fucking world outside of men being the dominant force, men being in the natural order the dominators. Okay, that's why he's like, he has this kind of attitude.
Elaborated narrative of, let's say, call it masculine heroism, and a more differentiated sense of masculine totalitarianism as well.
Because it's true, really. You think a world needs to be dominated by men? That's a natural order. You fucking stupid. What an insane take.
The female role is still somewhat undifferentiated, and I think that's partly not acceptable anymore because women have control of the reproductive function now. So a lot of this has to become conscious. It can't just happen automatically.
Right. No, I mean, that's right. And so at a time when the virtues of femininity need to be taught more than ever, they're being taught the opposite more than ever. Because you have to opt into this feature of humanity, where before you didn't have to opt into it. It was going to be forced upon you, right? I mean, as long as you were going to engage in sexual activity, you were going to experience the joys of motherhood, and you were going to have to play this role. But now you no longer have to, which means that you actually have to be taught that there's value in the role in order for you to embrace the role.
And you have to be willing to notice that within, without seeing that as only part of you in your peculiarity and not as something regressive. Somebody clipped something I said and put it on one of those YouTube shorts. It's like 3 minutes long. It's got, I don't know, 8 million views.
The thing I don't understand about this is, like, when women do embrace, for example, the way that they look, okay, or their sexuality, take matters into their own hands, per se, and decide that, like, I want to look sexy and I want to make money by looking sexy, okay? I'm sick and tired of other dudes that are making money off of me being sexy. These dudes lose their fucking minds. How is that not also, in some way, in some aspects, embracing your own femininity? Okay? They hate that shit. They absolutely hate it. It's like, no, I not like that. I meant like, you know, trad cat stuff. Like wear an apron or something, okay? Yeah, embracing your femininity and seeing it as a virtue is by being a housewife to a shitty husband. That's the only way. Also, where is the relationship advice? This is 9 minutes and 11 seconds, and I have yet to hear a fucking crumb of relationship advice, let alone the best relationship advice I will ever hear. They haven't said shit, dude.
Or something, and they called it advice to 19-year-old women. And so what I said in this brief video was that
Jordan Peterson gives the best relationship advice. Feminism is all about men and women being like men. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. If anything, if I'm an incel and I watch this, I click, I watch this, I go, wow, he's really reinforcing my fucking deluded worldview. Thank you, Jordan Peterson. This is great advice. Drowning in pussy now.
Okay, so we'll go for another minute. Was that I've worked with women as peers my whole life. So I was part of the first generation, I would say, and certainly in my profession in psychology.
What the fuck just
That's
happened?
partly not acceptable anymore because women have control of the reproductive function now. So a lot of this has to become conscious. It can't just happen automatically.
Right. No, I mean, that's right. And so,
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
The female role is still different of, let's say, call it masculine heroism, and a more differentiated sense of masculine totalitarianism as well. The female role is still somewhat undifferentiated, and I think that's partly not acceptable anymore because women have control of the reproductive function now. So a lot of this has to become conscious. It can't just happen automatically.
right. No, I mean, that's right. And so at a time when the virtues of femininity...
I did rewind it on purpose because I was trying to understand if he was literally talking about how women are more in control over their own lives, and that's a negative thing because they have more control over their own reproductive functions. Very strange take. I
taught more than
went
ever
the
than
video
being
back.
taught the opposite more than ever.
Oh, well,
because you have
somebody-
to opt into this feature of humanity, where before you didn't have to opt into it. It was going to be forced upon you, right? I mean,
Right,
as long
right.
as you were going to engage in sexual activity, you were going to experience the joys of motherhood,
Right.
and you were going to have to play this role. But now you no longer have to, which means that you
Now
actually
you have
have
choice.
to. You have to be taught that there's value in the role in order for you to embrace the role.
And
you know,
you have to be willing to.
For the record, this is a Jordan Peterism. The whole like women getting reproductive freedom has actually been a major burden on civilized society. We do not know how women act in the workplace. We still don't know. Like I've heard him say that a million fucking times over about how like the birth control pill has literally like changed women in a dynamic way, made them a lot like men, and all this other shit. And that has allowed more women to enter the workforce, enter the workplace, and that is you know a potentially dangerous experiment.
To notice that without seeing that as
Hold on.
only part of you in your peculiarity and not as something regressive. Somebody clipped something I said and put it on one of those YouTube shorts. It's like 3 minutes long. It's got, I don't know, 8 million views or something. And they called it advice to 19-year-old women. And so what I said in this brief video was that, okay, so we'll go for another minute, was that I've worked with women as peers my whole life. So I was part of the first generation, I would say, and certainly in my profession in psychology, there's been a plethora of women, certainly since before I entered the field. So I've worked with women as peers my entire life. And I worked, even before that, I worked in the daycare branch of Alberta Social Services and as a consultant, and that was mostly women too. So, and what I noticed about women, and this I really was struck home to me when I worked with high-end lawyers in Toronto, because I worked with the best law firms in Toronto for 10 years.
Wait, are they getting kicked out when the guy comes over? I thought that was like...
That, okay, so we'll go for another minute.
Oh my God.
Said in this brief
Oh my God.
video was that, okay, so we'll go for another minute, was that I've worked with women as peers my whole life. So I was part of the first generation, I would say, and certainly in my profession in psychology, there's been a plethora of women, certainly since before I entered the field. So I've worked with women as peers my entire life. And I worked, even before that, I worked in the daycare branch of Alberta Social Services. And
where are they that no one's wearing a mask, by the way? This is kind of weird. This is like a new video, right? I guess Texas? Like no one is fucking wearing a mask at all. It's a set?
As a consultant, and that was mostly women too. So, and what I noticed about women, and this I really was struck home to me when I worked with high-end lawyers in Toronto, because I worked with the best law firms in Toronto for 10 years with their best lawyers. They would send them to me, and some other people that were involved in this enterprise, and our deal was, we'll increase the efficiency of your high-end lawyers by 10% in terms of billable hours, but we work for them, not you. And so then I had about 15 of lawyers like this come and see me. They were skeptical to begin with, but we got over that pretty quick. And some of it was management discussion, some of it was strategy, some of it was sorting out their marriage.
Who stalls more, you think? Me or Jordan Peterson? Like, at least, like, I go through 700 fucking different takes in an hour because I have, like, ADHD and I'm jumping from, one thing to the other. Whereas I feel as though JP can't even fucking finish one statement. He just has, like, the most insane, convoluted points.
Marriage, work-life balance, like, really depended on the individual, as it should in the therapeutic session. But we had a lot of discussions with the women because the law firms lost all their women in their early 30s. And the story was always the same. So these women who became these top lawyers, they all had the same story. They're hyper-conscientious and very, very smart. So they were top of junior high, top of high school, top of their class in college, went to a great law school, top law school class, they went to a great law firm, and then they walked through the legal ranks till they hit senior partner. No, like blinders on, like conscientious people will have. I'm going to attain up this pyramid. Then they'd hit 30 or so when they hit senior partner, equivalent of tenured professor. And then they woke up and thought, what the hell am I doing here? I'm working like 80 hours a week, 75 hours a week, flat out. Because you don't get to that level unless you're like, we're performing.
Bro, this is, okay, here's the thing. I can't believe this was the point. Jesus fucking Christ. This was literally the fucking point, and I'm losing my mind, okay? Dude, what you're talking about, what you're describing is literally just burnout that happens to both men and women under capitalism. It doesn't actually, oh my God, his face is so funny. I'm losing it. He's literally pogging. Poggers. I'm pogging every time I think of a woman leaving the workplace to go back to her traditional roots. Okay. This is so stupid. He literally is saying that like women experience burnout and then leave the workforce, and that burnout is caused by their desire to have children and become a traditional wife. And it's like, so why the fuck do men have burnout? Burnout in academia got nothing to do with capitalism, to be honest, but he's not just talking about academia. So why the fuck do men experience burnout then? Because they want to go home and become trad dads? Is that what it is? Is that why? Or it's because they're fucking forcibly feminized by microplastics and also watching pornography.
And you get a call at 2 a.m. from some client in China who's got a corporate merger. It's like, you're awake and on it.
Right.
And you put that on top of everything, or you don't get paid $750 an hour. And you say, well, that's the patriarchy. It's like, no, it's not. It's the market.
That was it. That was it, dude. That was awesome. That was fucking dope. That was incredible. I am going to get laid so hard after this. Oh my fucking Lord. What an incredible fucking video. Wisdom from two giants can make even the smallest of men become mighty. Thank you, Ben and Jordan, says the roommates. What kind of fucking content did these dorks put out?
Yo, what's good?
Dude, this is literally the Joe Rogan JRE thumbnail. Like, they're just doing the JRE thumbnails, huh? This is great, man. This is actually great. Peterson stands. Yeah, we saw this before. Two of the greatest minds of our time. What an empire these men have built. Thanks for sharing the trip to Montreal. Joe Rogan looks deranged in this too, which is fucking even funnier. Is HasanAbi the smartest dumb person on Twitch or the dumbest smart person on Twitch? I'm just a dumbass, dude. I'm nothing. My brain is mush now reading that comment. So the advice is that, you know, you should be able to cream pie women. Okay? The advice is that you should be able to cream pie women because they are supposed to be subservient and submissive as dictated by the Bible. And contemporary examples of that subservience being the natural predisposition of women come from Jordan Peterson's anecdotes of women being upset and experiencing capitalist burnout in the workplace. There you go. That was the advice. I just gave you the fucking literal 2-minute answer, or not even 2-minute, like the 30-second summarization of that entire video. And that is psychotic. And I swear to God, you will never get girls if you listen to that. And that just, the only thing that does is reinforce your psychotic, idiotic, patriarchal, misogynistic fucking values to begin with. Even if you actually do end up finding a woman like that who agrees with that point of view, because of the inherent attitudes that you have towards women as being lesser than you, okay, that you try to justify by saying, no, I'm not saying they're lesser than. I'm simply stating that they're different, okay? If you straight up fucking believe that shit, you are never going to be in a healthy relationship. And the reason why you'll never be in a healthy relationship is because you are always going to treat women as inferior to you because you're seeking content that justifies that kind of attitude. Okay? Deep down inside, that is what you believe. And reading Bible verses or listening to two fucking dickweeds talk about it in the exact same capacity is not going to change that for you. The reason why you're having bad relationships is because you don't respect women, okay? You don't look for a partner in crime. That's what you're not doing. That's what you should be doing. Okay? Madison Cawthorn's divorce just went